For thousands of years, Stonehenge has stood like a silent sentinel on the windswept plains of England. A circle of colossal stones, older than the pyramids, aligned with uncanny precision to the movements of the sun. But here's the truth: nobody really knows why it was built, or how a civilization with nothing but primitive tools managed to move rocks weighing up to 25 tons across miles of rugged terrain. Archaeologists have spent centuries digging, measuring, theorizing, and yet the monument seems to defy explanation. Was it a temple, a burial ground, a celestial calendar, or something much, much darker? Because recently, cutting-edge technology has peeled back layers of history we never could before. And what scientists uncovered doesn't just rewrite history, raises unsettling questions about humanity's past. Questions that may leave you looking at those stones with a chill running down your spine. Before we dive in, take a quick second to hit that like button. It really helps this channel grow. If you love exploring history's strangest secrets, make sure to subscribe and tap the notification bell so you never miss a mystery. And hey, share this video with a friend who enjoys a good puzzle. Let's see if they can solve the enigma of Stonehenge before we reveal the truth. The timeless sentinel. Imagine standing on a windswept plain in southern England. The horizon stretches endlessly, grass rippling like waves under a gray sky. And there, rising from the earth like the bones of some ancient giant, is Stonehenge. Massive slabs of sandstone and bluestone, some towering as high as a four-story building, arranged in a circle that seems almost too precise, too intentional, to be an accident of history. It's older than the Great Pyramids of Giza, older than written language in Europe. By the time the first Roman legions marched across Britain, Stonehenge had already been standing for nearly 2,000 years. To them, it was already ancient, its builders long forgotten, its meaning already shrouded in mystery. And yet, despite its age, it still commands awe. People travel across the world to see it, often describing the strange sense of silence and power that lingers in the air around the stones. But here's the real question. What story were those stones meant to tell? For centuries, scholars, mystics, and storytellers have tried to answer that question. Some believed Stonehenge was a temple to the sun, a place where ancient priests tracked the heavens. Others swore it was a burial ground for kings, or even a portal to another world. In medieval times, legends told of giants who carried the stones from faraway lands, or of the wizard Merlin himself conjuring the circle with magic. But beneath the myths lies a deeper puzzle. How could Neolithic people, without wheels, without iron tools, without the machinery we take for granted, haul stones weighing 25 tons across miles of unforgiving terrain? Even today, with cranes and trucks, it would be no easy task. And still, they did it. Somehow. Which forces us to ask, what was so important, so vital, that entire generations dedicated themselves to this monument? Because Stonehenge wasn't just built once. It was rebuilt, expanded, and reshaped over centuries, as though its purpose kept evolving, or as if the builders were chasing a secret just beyond their reach. This is where our journey begins. Stones that shouldn't stand. Picture this. You're living 5,000 years ago, in a world without machines, without steel, without even the wheel. Your tools are made of wood, stone, and bone. Your world is fragile, dependent on the rhythm of seasons and the mercy of nature. And yet, in that world, someone decided to build one of the most enduring and baffling monuments in human history. The largest stones at Stonehenge, the Sarsens, stand up to 30 feet tall and weigh around 25 tons each. The smaller blue stones, though smaller, still tip the scales at 4 tons apiece. To put that in perspective, that's heavier than an African elephant, heavier than a bus. Now imagine dragging dozens of these across swamps, rivers, and rolling hills. No cranes, no engines, just human hands, ropes, and sheer determination. Archaeologists believe hundreds of people would have been needed to move a single stone. They may have used sledges, wooden rollers, and even greased tracks of animal fat to slide them along. It wasn't a project of weeks or months. It was decades of back-breaking labor. And here's what makes it even more mysterious. Many of the stones weren't local. Some were dragged from quarries nearly 150 miles away in Wales. That's not just ambition, that's obsession. Why would they go to such extremes? What secret made these stones worth moving mountains for? Even with modern experiments, the logistics feel almost impossible. Teams of archaeologists and engineers have tried to recreate the process, hauling replica stones with ropes and wooden sleds. What they discovered is astonishing. Moving even one block required hundreds of coordinated workers, perfect timing, and relentless effort. And that's without the unpredictable mud, weather, and terrain challenges the ancients would have faced. Then comes the lifting. Raising a stone weighing tens of tons into a vertical position and balancing it so it doesn't topple is a feat that baffles even today's experts. Some suggest they dug massive pits, tilted the stones into place, and used earth ramps to prop them upright. Others believe they employed intricate wooden frameworks, like scaffolding, to lever the giants skyward. But here's the part that truly boggles the mind. After raising these enormous pillars, the builders placed massive horizontal stones, lintels, across the top. That means they didn't just raise the stones, they engineered a stone circle with interlocking joints, almost like carpentry. This wasn't guesswork, it was deliberate design, which forces us to ask, were these builders far more advanced than history gives them credit for? Or were they driven by knowledge, rituals, or perhaps even forces we still can't quite understand? 3. The builders' secrets. Who, exactly, were the people behind Stonehenge? That's the question that has haunted historians for centuries. Unlike the Egyptians, they left no hieroglyphs. Unlike the Mesopotamians, they left no clay tablets. The builders of Stonehenge remain silent, their names erased by time. All that's left are the stones, and the traces they left in the soil. Archaeology, however, has begun to give them a faint voice. Evidence suggests that construction began around 3000 BCE in Britain's late Neolithic period. These were farming communities, people who cultivated crops, raised livestock, and lived in small villages scattered across the landscape. They weren't an empire, they weren't kings with armies. They were ordinary people with extraordinary vision. And yet these ordinary people demonstrated remarkable organization. Building Stonehenge wasn't a weekend project. It required planning across generations. Think about that. Parents working on something they knew their grandchildren would finish. That kind of dedication suggests the monument wasn't just important, it was sacred. Recent studies of nearby settlements like Durrington Walls reveal clues. Massive feasts were held there, with remains of pigs and cattle brought from hundreds of miles away. Thousands may have gathered, not just to work, but to celebrate, to honor something larger than themselves. But what was it? A god? The sun? The ancestors? Or something far more mysterious? DNA analysis of human remains around Stonehenge has added another twist. Scientists discovered that the builders weren't all from the same region. Some had origins as far as modern-day Wales and even continental Europe. This wasn't just a local project. It drew people from distant lands, converging on one spot with a shared purpose. Why would people travel hundreds of miles bringing animals, tools, even their dead, to this windswept plain? It suggests Stonehenge wasn't simply a construction, it was a pilgrimage, a destination that pulled communities together like a magnet. Even more astonishing, isotope studies of teeth and bones show that these people often died young, yet they were buried with honor near the stones. To the builders, this place may have been more than sacred ground. It may have been the very center of their world. And so, while their names are lost, their legacy isn't. The silent stones are proof that ordinary farmers and herders created something extraordinary, something they believed would outlast them, something that, against all odds, still does. But if the builders poured their lives into it, what exactly were they building it for? Sacred alignments. Every year, on the longest day of summer, something extraordinary happens at Stonehenge. As the first light of dawn breaks the horizon, the sun rises in perfect alignment with the heel stone and shines directly into the heart of the monument. Thousands still gather today to witness it, a spectacle of light and shadow that has been repeating for over 4,000 years. This alignment is no accident. The builders of Stonehenge carefully positioned the stones to mark not only the summer solstice, but also the winter solstice, the shortest day of the year. Imagine the precision required. Without modern compasses, telescopes, or GPS, they mapped the sky well enough to anchor massive stones to the rhythms of the cosmos. Why would this matter? In a world without clocks or calendars, the sky was the ultimate guide. The sun told people when to plant, when to harvest, when to prepare for the hardships of winter. But Stonehenge seems to go beyond farming. It feels ceremonial, as though marking these moments wasn't just practical, but profoundly spiritual. To those ancient eyes, the turning of the sun wasn't just science. It was the heartbeat of the universe, and Stonehenge was built to capture it. Some archaeologists argue Stonehenge was the world's first great observatory, a place where priests or shamans tracked celestial events with astonishing accuracy. The arrangement of the stones doesn't just align with solstices, it also marks lunar cycles and eclipses. To think, people 5,000 years ago may have predicted events in the sky that we still find awe-inspiring today. But was it just about watching the heavens? Or was it about connecting with them? Many cultures saw the sun as a god, the giver of life. The winter solstice, when the days began to lengthen again, symbolized rebirth and renewal. Standing inside Stonehenge on that day, as the dying sun lined up with the stones, might have felt like witnessing creation itself. Others believe it was a gateway, a place where the world of the living met the world of the dead, bound together through the cycles of light and darkness. If true, then Stonehenge wasn't just a calendar. It was a cosmic bridge, and that raises the unsettling question: were these alignments meant simply to guide farmers, or to guide souls? Whispers of the dead. Beneath the grass surrounding Stonehenge lies a darker story, one written not in stone, but in bone. Archaeologists have unearthed hundreds of human remains buried in and around the site. Some are cremated, their ashes carefully placed in small pits. Others were buried whole, their bodies arranged with care. Together they form one of the largest known Neolithic cemeteries in Britain. This discovery changed everything. For centuries, Stonehenge was thought of as a temple for the living, a place of ritual, feasting, and celebration. But the graves suggest it was also a monument to the dead, perhaps even a great memorial, where the most important members of society were laid to rest. What's striking is who these people were. Many showed signs of disease or injury, some were young, cut down before their time. And yet, they were brought here, sometimes from hundreds of miles away, to be buried beneath the shadow of the stones. Why? Was Stonehenge believed to heal, to bless, or to guide souls into the afterlife? Each skeleton whispers a fragment of that mystery, but together they ask one chilling question: was Stonehenge more tomb than temple? Excavations have revealed something unsettling about these burials. Not all of them look like peaceful farewells. Some remains show signs of violent injuries, fractured skulls, broken bones, that hint at something far more brutal. Were these victims of battle, honored with burial at a sacred site? Or were they sacrifices, offered to whatever power Stonehenge was meant to serve? Adding to the mystery, cremated remains were often buried in carefully chosen spots within the circle, as if placement itself carried meaning. Some pits even contained fragments of precious objects, tools, ornaments, or animal bones, buried alongside the dead. These offerings suggest death here wasn't an ending, but a ritual, a crossing. One theory proposes that Stonehenge was part of a larger ceremonial landscape, a journey of the dead. Bodies may have been carried along the river Avon to Stonehenge, moving from wooden structures symbolizing life to stone structures symbolizing eternity. In that vision, the stones weren't just markers of time. They were markers of mortality. If true, then every stone, every grave, every shadow cast by the solstice sun was part of a grand ritual connecting the living and the dead. Echoes beneath. The earth. For centuries, people assumed Stonehenge was a lonely monument, just a ring of stones standing in isolation. But in recent decades, Technology has pulled back the veil of Earth to reveal a stunning truth. Stonehenge is only the tip of the iceberg. Using ground-penetrating radar, magnetometry, and other scanning techniques, archaeologists have discovered a vast hidden landscape beneath and around the monument. Buried ditches, timber structures, massive pits, and even other henges dot the area for miles. What once seemed like a solitary circle is now understood as part of a sprawling ceremonial complex. Among the most shocking finds are enormous pits arranged in a giant arc around Stonehenge. Some are so large they could swallow a two-story house. Were they dug as markers, as traps, or as part of a ritual no one alive today remembers? Their sheer size suggests they weren't random. They were deliberate, purposeful, and likely terrifying to those who witnessed them. It's as if the ground itself was part of the monument, a canvas on which the builders etched secrets too large to see from standing level. One of the most intriguing discoveries lies just a couple of miles from Stonehenge, a site known as Durrington Walls. Buried beneath farmland, it was once a massive wooden structure, larger in scale than Stonehenge itself. Imagine towering timber posts forming vast circles, long since rotted away, leaving only ghostly impressions in the soil. Many experts now believe Durrington Walls was the land of the living, while Stonehenge represented the land of the dead. The two were connected by the River Avon, a symbolic journey from life to death, wood to stone, the temporary to the eternal. But the underground secrets don't stop there. Scans have revealed avenues, post holes, and even long-forgotten henges stretching across the landscape, hinting at a ritual network far more complex than a single monument. It wasn't just one circle in a field. It was an entire ceremonial city hidden beneath the earth. And here's the eerie part. So much remains buried, untouched, unseen. What else still lies beneath the soil, waiting to be uncovered? Could the darkest secrets of Stonehenge still be sleeping underground? The sound of the stones. If you've ever stood inside Stonehenge, you'll notice something strange. When the wind passes through the circle, the air feels different. Words echo oddly, footsteps carry further, and even a simple clap of the hands seems amplified. It turns out this isn't just your imagination. Stonehenge has acoustic secrets. Researchers have recreated the stone circle in digital models and discovered that its shape acts like a giant amplifier. The stones bounce sound around the circle, creating powerful echoes. Voices inside could be heard clearly, while those outside might hear only muffled noise. In other words, Stonehenge may have been designed not just to be seen, but to be heard. Imagine a ritual where chanting, drumming, or singing filled the circle. The sounds would reverberate, rising into a trance-like rhythm, amplifying the voices of priests or shamans until they seemed almost otherworldly. To the people standing within, it may have felt as though the stones themselves were speaking back. But was this intentional engineering or an eerie coincidence of design? Evidence suggests sound wasn't just a background effect. It may have been central to Stonehenge's purpose. Ancient cultures across the world used rhythm, chanting, and drumming to enter altered states of consciousness. Could Stonehenge have been a stage for something similar? Think about it. Hundreds of people gathered in the circle, their voices rising. In unison, drums beating like a heartbeat against the stone. The echoes would layer upon themselves, creating a soundscape that was hypnotic, overwhelming, maybe even terrifying. For those inside, it could feel like crossing into another reality. Some researchers propose that certain stones themselves might have been chosen for their acoustic properties. The blue stones from Wales, when struck, produce ringing tones, almost like a primitive xylophone. Were they used as ritual instruments, ringing out during ceremonies? If so, then Stonehenge wasn't just architecture, it was music, performance, and spiritual technology all in one. If the builders understood this, it means they weren't simply moving rocks. They were crafting an experience, a sensory journey, designed to stir the soul, and perhaps to summon something they believed was listening: blood on the stones. For all its beauty and mystery, Stonehenge may also hold a darker past. Some archaeologists believe this monument wasn't only a place of gathering and ceremony, it may have been a stage for blood, Excavations have uncovered human remains with wounds that weren't healed, broken skulls, smashed bones, and injuries, suggesting violent ends. While some may have died in battle, others show signs that hint at something more ritualistic. Could these have been sacrifices carried out within the shadow of the stones? Consider this. Many ancient cultures believed blood was the ultimate offering to the gods, a way to nourish the earth, the sun, or unseen spirits. If Stonehenge was aligned with cosmic forces, could it also have been the site where life itself was offered back to those forces? Even the solstice gatherings may have held a darker side. Imagine a crowd assembled at dawn, chanting, the echo of drums filling the circle, and in the heart of it all, an offering made in blood. To the builders, it may not have been cruelty, but duty. It leaves us with a chilling question. Did Stonehenge witness not just celebrations of life, but sacrifices to powers beyond human understanding? Some of the most compelling evidence comes from the tiny fragments of human bones found near the stones. Many show precise cuts or burn marks, suggesting ritual cremation or deliberate ceremonial handling. In addition, animal bones, cattle, pigs, and deer were often buried alongside humans, possibly as symbolic offerings. The scale of these rituals is staggering. It wasn't occasional. It appears to have been a recurring practice, spanning centuries. Imagine generation after generation participating in rites where blood and fire intertwined with stone and sky. For the people of that era, these ceremonies may have been essential to survival, to appease gods, or to maintain cosmic balance. But here's the unsettling part. Even after millennia, traces of these rituals remain, faint yet undeniable. Stonehenge doesn't just whisper history, it murmurs secrets of human devotion, desperation, and perhaps fear. It forces us to confront an uncomfortable truth. The monument wasn't merely a calendar or an observatory, it was a stage for human drama in its rawest, most primal form. Life and death, celebration and sacrifice, all intertwined beneath the shadows of these silent stones. The migration puzzle. One of the most surprising revelations about Stonehenge comes not from the stones themselves, but from the people buried nearby. Isotope analysis of teeth and bones has revealed something astonishing. Many of the individuals interred at the site were not local. Some came from distant regions of Britain, while others traveled all the way from what is now Wales, hundreds of miles away. This wasn't a casual journey. Imagine crossing rivers, hills, and forests in a time without roads, horses, or maps, just to reach a monument of stone. Why would people undertake such perilous travel? The answer seems to lie in Stonehenge's immense spiritual significance. It wasn't just a monument. It was a destination, a place of power that drew pilgrims from across the land. Even more intriguing, genetic studies show that many of these travelers had no obvious connection to the local communities. They were strangers, yet they were honored, with burial near the stones. This suggests that Stonehenge wasn't only sacred to one village or tribe. It was a shared cultural or religious hub, a magnet for distant peoples united by belief, ritual, or perhaps fear. It raises a haunting question. What was so compelling about this place that people risked life and limb to be part of its story, even in death? The patterns of these migrations suggest more than casual travel. They hint at a network of communities connected by ritual and belief. People weren't just visiting, they were participating in something much larger than themselves, a shared ceremonial culture that spanned regions. Archaeologists have found that some of the buried individuals had traveled with their possessions, tools, ornaments, and even food. These items weren't mere belongings. They were offerings, tokens of respect, or symbols of status meant to accompany them in death. It's as if the journey itself was part of the ritual, a test of devotion before reaching the sacred stones. This movement of people also suggests that Stonehenge may have been a unifying force in a fragmented world. Villages scattered across Britain were connected through pilgrimage, ritual, and the shared awe inspired by these monumental stones. Stonehenge wasn't just a structure, it was the heartbeat of a culture, pulsing with the lives, beliefs, and sacrifices of countless travelers. And so, every footprint, every bone, every artifact carried from distant lands tells a story. A story of devotion, risk, and a relentless pursuit of something transcendent. Something powerful enough to draw strangers into its shadow and keep them there forever. Engineering genius. It's easy to admire Stonehenge for its mystery and beauty, but the more you examine it, the more you realize it's an engineering marvel, especially for a civilization without metal tools or wheels. These massive stones weren't simply stacked, they were carefully shaped, transported, and positioned with astonishing precision. Take the sarsen stones, for example. Many weigh more than 25 tons, yet their surfaces were smoothed and their tops shaped to interlock with horizontal lintels. The builders even used mortise and tenon joints, techniques more commonly associated with woodworking than with stone construction, to ensure the lintels stayed in place. This wasn't random piling. It was deliberate, calculated, and impressively sophisticated. And let's not forget the transportation. Some bluestones were quarried over 150 miles away in Wales. How were they moved? Experiments suggest a combination of sledges, rollers, ropes, and waterways. It likely required hundreds of workers coordinating in perfect rhythm, understanding leverage, friction, and human strength in ways that most people today underestimate. The layout itself is equally impressive. The circle aligns precisely with the solstices, and the spacing of stones shows a deep understanding of geometry and astronomy. Every placement seems intentional, every gap measured, every shadow accounted for. Stonehenge wasn't just a monument, it was a blueprint, a statement of knowledge, ambition, and skill that challenges our assumptions about what Neolithic people could achieve. Raising the stones into place was perhaps the most extraordinary feat. Imagine lifting a 25-ton pillar without cranes, pulleys, or modern machinery. Archaeologists suggest that the builders used massive earthen ramps, levering the stones gradually into a vertical position. Wooden frameworks may have supported the stones as they were tilted, braced, and finally secured. Every movement required precision. One slip could crush dozens of workers or shatter the stone entirely. Even the horizontal lintels were placed with remarkable accuracy. Workers likely used ropes, wooden scaffolds, and ingenious jacks to slide the beams into position atop the standing stones. The mortise and tenon joints then locked everything together, preventing the structure from collapsing under its own weight. This level of architectural foresight shows a deep understanding of forces, balance, and durability, far beyond what we often credit to Neolithic communities. Stonehenge's construction wasn't just about moving rocks. It was about mastering physics, geometry, and astronomy, all while coordinating hundreds of people over decades. It was a statement, a demonstration of human ingenuity, devotion, and perhaps even obsession. And when you stand inside that circle today, it's impossible not to feel it. The echo of hands, the strain of muscles, the careful calculations that lifted these stones from earth into legend. The astronomer's temple Stonehenge wasn't just a display of engineering. It was also a monument to the stars. Every stone, every gap, and every alignment seems to trace the heavens with remarkable precision. From the summer and winter solstices to lunar cycles and eclipses, the monument captures celestial rhythms that would have guided life, death, and ritual for thousands of years. Think about that for a moment. Without telescopes or charts, Neolithic people tracked the sun and moon with enough accuracy to align massive stones over decades. The heel stone marks the summer solstice sunrise, while other stones trace the winter sunset. Some experts even suggest that Stonehenge could predict eclipses, functioning as a giant prehistoric astronomical calculator. But why invest so much time in observing the sky? For the ancients, the movements of the sun and moon weren't just practical, they were spiritual. The heavens were alive, the cycles of light and darkness carrying messages from gods or ancestors. By aligning the stones with these cosmic events, the builders created a temple where earth and sky met, a sacred space where humans could witness the universe's patterns firsthand. Stonehenge, in this sense, was far more than a monument. It was a bridge between the terrestrial and the celestial, a place where the rhythm of the cosmos was encoded in stone for all who dared to understand it. Some researchers believe Stonehenge may have functioned as a calendar of life itself. By tracking the sun, moon, and stars, the builders could determine the timing of agricultural cycles, ceremonial gatherings, and perhaps even ritual events tied to life and death. The alignment wasn't just a matter of observation. It was a language written in stone, communicating with those who understood the sky. The lunar alignments are particularly fascinating. Certain stones appear positioned to mark the 18.6-year cycle of the moon, a sophisticated pattern that would have required careful observation over generations. This suggests that the builders weren't just casual stargazers. They were astronomers, mathematicians, and priests all rolled into one. And here's the eerie part. Stonehenge's alignments weren't limited to practical matters. Some placements coincide with times of ritual significance, hinting at ceremonies designed to synchronize human activity with cosmic events. To stand within the circle during solstice sunrise may have felt like touching the universe itself, participating in a grand cosmic rhythm beyond comprehension. In this light, Stonehenge becomes more than stones on a plain. It's an astronomer's temple, a monument where the heavens and earth converge, and where the mysteries of life, death, and the healing hypothesis. Stonehenge may not have been only about death, ritual, or celestial observation. Some researchers propose it was also a place of healing, an ancient center where people came seeking cures for the body and soul. The evidence is subtle but compelling. Excavations have uncovered human remains showing signs of disease, malnutrition, or injury, burials of individuals who appear to have traveled great distances, possibly hoping for relief or treatment. Why bring the sick here? One theory suggests that Stonehenge's stones themselves were believed to possess healing powers. Some of the blue stones from Wales, for example, were thought to have mystical properties and were transported hundreds of miles, perhaps because of these perceived effects. The act of pilgrimage, walking long distances to the monument, participating in ceremonies, and interacting with the sacred stones, may have been part of the healing process. In a time before medicine as we know it, ritual, community, and faith could be as important as physical remedies. Imagine arriving at the stones after days of travel, the wind howling across the plains, chanting echoing through the circle. For someone suffering, the experience could feel transformative, even miraculous. The healing may have been as much psychological as physical, a connection between human belief, ritual, and the raw power of the monument itself. Some researchers point to the very placement of the blue stones as evidence for healing. Unlike the massive sarsens, these smaller stones were carefully selected and transported from the Preseli Hills in Wales, over 150 miles away. The journey alone would have required immense effort, suggesting that the stone's origin mattered as much as their form. Could their source have been tied to sacred beliefs about the stone's curative powers? Additionally, the alignment of the stones may have amplified this effect. The way sunlight streamed through the circle at key times of the year could have been interpreted as divine energy or cosmic medicine, bathing those within in ritual light, combined with sound, chants, drumming, and resonance within the stone circle. This could create a sensory experience that modern science recognizes as profoundly therapeutic. While we may never know exactly what the builders intended, it's clear that Stonehenge was more than architecture. It was an experience, a place where the physical and spiritual intersected. For the sick and weary, the monument offered hope, ritualized care, and perhaps the strongest medicine of all, belief. In this way, Stonehenge may have functioned as both a temple and a hospital, its mysteries serving both body and soul. Myths and legends. Stonehenge has inspired stories for millennia, long before archaeologists began to uncover its secrets. Across centuries, myths have grown like vines around the stones, blending history with imagination, fact with folklore. In medieval England, one tale credited the wizard Merlin with magically transporting the stones from Ireland. Giants, too, were said to have carried them, leaving footprints of myth etched across the plains. These stories hint at the monument's power. Even when its purpose was forgotten, its presence demanded explanation, and people filled the gaps with magic. Then, there are the Arthurian legends, connecting Stonehenge to kings, battles, and mystical rites. Some tales suggest the stones were a memorial for ancient British nobles, while others portray the site as a gateway to the otherworld, a place where spirits and humans could meet. Even today, modern myths persist. Some believe Stonehenge is a vortex of energy, a portal for extraterrestrial contact, or a beacon aligned with cosmic forces beyond human comprehension. Though these ideas stray into speculation, they reflect a truth. Stonehenge evokes wonder, fear, and fascination in every generation that gazes upon it. It's a monument that cannot be ignored, a puzzle that demands storytelling. And in every tale, real or imagined, Stonehenge continues to live, not just in stone, but in the human imagination. These myths do more than entertain. They reveal how deeply Stonehenge resonated with people. By linking the stones to giants, wizards, or legendary kings, societies could explain the inexplicable, giving the monument meaning long after its original purpose was lost. In a way, the stories themselves became a form of preservation, keeping the memory of Stonehenge alive through centuries of oral tradition. The symbolism embedded in these legends also hints at universal human themes: power, mortality, and the search for connection with forces beyond our control. Whether it was Merlin shaping the stones or the giants carrying them across the land, the narratives reflect awe, fear, and reverence, emotions that anyone encountering Stonehenge today can still feel. Even local folklore contributes to the aura. Seasonal festivals, ghost stories, and mystical encounters surrounding the site paint a picture of Stonehenge as a living entity, one that interacts with humanity, not just physically, but spiritually. Every myth layers meaning onto the monument, transforming it from stone into story, from structure into legend. And that's the most fascinating part. Stonehenge's greatest power may not lie in its stones, or its astronomy, or even its rituals. It may lie in its ability to inspire imagination, across millennia, across cultures, across the human heart. The music of the past Stonehenge wasn't silent in its day. Archaeologists and researchers suggest that sound played a central role in the rituals and daily life of the monument. The very stones themselves may have been chosen for their acoustic qualities, creating a kind of prehistoric symphony. The blue stones, when struck, emit ringing tones, almost like a natural xylophone. Imagine hundreds of people gathering within the circle, chanting or drumming, with each sound amplified and echoed by the stones. The resulting resonance would be hypnotic, almost otherworldly, blurring the line between reality and ritual. Some experts believe this soundscape was deliberate, designed to induce trance-like states in participants. Rhythm and resonance could guide the mind into altered consciousness, enhancing spiritual experiences, ceremonies, or even healing rituals. In a sense, Stonehenge may have been an ancient concert hall, a theater of sound crafted for the divine. Music, then, wasn't just entertainment, it was power. It bound communities together, marked ceremonies, and created an immersive experience where sound, stone, and spirit converged. The monument becomes more than stone and earth. It becomes a stage, a living instrument, echoing the past in ways modern ears are only beginning to understand. Some researchers have experimented with reconstructed sounds, using drums, horns, and chanting inside the circle. The results are remarkable. Certain areas within Stonehenge amplify sound dramatically, while others dampen it. This suggests the builders had an intuitive understanding of acoustics, arranging stones to control how sound traveled through the space. Consider the impact of this on ceremonies. A chant in the right spot could seem to come from nowhere and everywhere at once, creating awe, fear, or reverence in participants. Drums might have mimicked a heartbeat, connecting ritual to life itself. Even the subtle ringing of bluestones could punctuate moments of ceremony, reinforcing the sacred atmosphere. In this way, Stonehenge becomes a multisensory experience. Sight, sound, and ritual merge, creating a profound emotional and spiritual impact. Music wasn't merely decoration, it was an instrument of connection, a way to bridge the earthly and the divine. It's astonishing to think that 5,000 years ago, People achieved this level of acoustic sophistication without written theory, without instruments as we know them, relying only on observation, experimentation, and belief. Stonehenge may have been the world's first grand concert hall, tuned not for entertainment, but for the soul. Global Connection Stonehenge is often thought of as a unique, isolated wonder, but the more we study it, the more we see parallels with monuments across the world. From the megalithic temples of Malta to the pyramids of Egypt, and even the stone circles of Africa and South America, similar techniques and purposes appear. Alignments with the sun and moon, massive stone construction, and ceremonial landscapes. This raises a tantalizing possibility. Were these cultures entirely independent, or was knowledge of megalithic construction shared across continents? The builders of Stonehenge weren't alone in creating monuments that fused astronomy, ritual, and architecture. Somewhere, across vast distances, human societies were asking the same questions about life, death, and the cosmos, and expressing the answers in stone. Even within Britain, Stonehenge wasn't a solitary endeavor. The transport of blue stones from Wales indicates a network of communities working together, exchanging knowledge, resources, and ritual practices. These connections may have created cultural cohesion, linking distant peoples through shared spiritual and architectural traditions. Stonehenge, in this light, is not just a monument. It's a symbol of humanity's quest to understand the universe, a shared dream etched into stone, bridging time, space, and culture. Comparisons with other megalithic sites reveal striking similarities. For instance, the alignment of temples. In Malta mirrors that of Stonehenge, marking solstices and equinoxes with remarkable precision. In South America, sites like Corral and Machu Picchu exhibit careful planning and astronomical awareness, suggesting a universal human fascination with the sky. These parallels hint at a shared understanding, or perhaps parallel evolution, of monumental construction and celestial observation. Could knowledge have traveled across lands through trade, migration, or storytelling? Or did human curiosity simply converge on the same solutions, independent of geography? Either way, Stonehenge is part of a global dialogue, a monument that speaks to humanity's timeless desire to connect earth and sky. Even within Europe, the movement of blue stones from Wales demonstrates that Stonehenge itself was part of a regional network of sacred sites. Communities exchanged not only stones, but ideas, rituals, and techniques. The monument becomes both a local achievement and a link in a larger chain of human innovation, ritual, and ambition. In essence, Stonehenge is a bridge between people, between cultures, and between continents. It reminds us that the mysteries of the past were not confined to one place, but were part of a global story, echoing across time and space. 6. The Curse of Stonehenge. Legends tell us that Stonehenge is not only sacred, but also dangerous. Stories of curses and ill fortune have surrounded the site for centuries. Locals in past generations warned against disturbing the stones, claiming that those who disrespected them would face misfortune, illness, or even death. Some of these tales may have roots in real events. Archaeologists have uncovered evidence of violent injuries, mysterious deaths, and even possible ritual killings in and around Stonehenge. While science can explain only some of these occurrences, folklore fills in the gaps, warning that the monument was a place to be revered and feared. Even in modern times, reports of accidents or strange phenomena near the stones feed into the legend. Tourists occasionally claim sudden chills, disorientation, or an overwhelming sense of being watched. While skeptics might attribute these experiences to imagination or the power of suggestion, they hint at the lingering aura of the monument. Stonehenge, it seems, is a place where the sacred and the sinister intertwine. The closer one approaches, the more one feels the weight of history, ritual, and perhaps even forces beyond human comprehension. Some researchers believe the curse may stem from the way Stonehenge was used. If the monument was a site of sacrifice, ritual, or burial, disturbing it could have been seen as inviting the wrath of the spirits or deities honored there. The injuries and deaths uncovered by archaeologists may have reinforced these warnings, creating a lasting cultural memory that evolved into legend. Even the sheer scale and mystery of the stones can create an almost supernatural impression. Standing beneath a towering sarsen or hearing the wind echo through the circle can be disorienting, triggering primal fear and awe. It's easy to see how such experiences, combined with folklore, could evolve into stories of curses. In the end, the curse of Stonehenge may not be magical at all. It may be the product of human reverence, fear, and imagination. Yet the tales persist, reminding every visitor that this is no ordinary monument. Stonehenge commands respect, and whether by accident, design, or legend, it maintains an aura of mystery that still chills and captivates. Secrets in the stones. Stonehenge isn't just a collection of rocks. It's a library written in stone, filled with secrets that have puzzled scientists for centuries. Each stone carries clues about its origin, purpose, and the people who moved it. From the blue stones of Wales to the towering sarsens, the monument holds a story that spans hundreds of miles and generations. Recent research has uncovered microscopic traces on some stones, hinting at how they were shaped and transported. Tool marks suggest techniques far more sophisticated than previously imagined, indicating that Neolithic builders had an advanced understanding of leverage, friction, and precision. These aren't random scratches. They are fingerprints of knowledge, etched into the stones for millennia. Even the arrangement of the stones is a secret in itself. Beyond solstices and lunar cycles, some researchers believe subtle patterns may encode astronomical or mathematical knowledge, a kind of prehistoric code. Every gap, every alignment, every joint may carry meaning that we are only beginning to decipher. Stonehenge, in this sense, is a puzzle. And like all great puzzles, it doesn't reveal its answers easily. Each discovery leads to new questions, hinting that the monument's secrets were designed to challenge and inspire, then, now, and for generations to come. Some researchers suggest that the stones may contain hidden alignments or codes that extend beyond simple astronomical observations. Certain pairs of stones, when viewed from specific angles, line up with distant landmarks, hills, or even other ancient monuments. Could this have been a deliberate system of mapping the landscape or conveying information across generations? Even more intriguing are the stone carvings. While faint, some markings appear to depict symbolic patterns or abstract figures. Were they ritualistic, functional, or purely decorative? The truth is, no one can say for certain. But what is clear is that these markings were intentionally placed, hinting at knowledge that has been lost to time. In a way, Stonehenge is like a book written in a language we're only beginning to read. Every stone, every notch, every alignment whispers a secret, inviting modern observers to decode its mysteries. And just when you think you understand it, another layer of complexity emerges, reminding us that Stonehenge is more than a monument. It's a living archive of human ingenuity, belief, and ambition. The astronomical enigma. Stonehenge isn't merely a stone circle, it's an ancient observatory. Its precise alignments with the sun, moon, and stars reveal a level of astronomical understanding that continues to astonish modern scientists. The monument marks the summer solstice sunrise, the winter solstice sunset, and even intricate lunar cycles that repeat over decades. What makes this truly remarkable is that the builders accomplished this without telescopes, charts, or modern instruments. They observed the skies over generations, carefully recording the movements of celestial bodies and translating that knowledge into stone. Every alignment reflects patience, skill, and a deep understanding of the cosmos. Some researchers propose that Stonehenge may have been able to predict eclipses, using subtle gaps and stone positions as markers. Others suggest the monument served as a calendar for agricultural planning, ritual events, and social gatherings. It's as though the Neolithic people were writing time itself into the landscape, encoding cosmic knowledge that would guide their descendants for centuries. And yet, for all its precision, questions remain. Were these alignments purely practical, or were they intended to communicate with unseen forces? Did the builders see the heavens as divine, and was Stonehenge a place where the earthly and celestial worlds touched? Some archaeologists and astronomers believe that Stonehenge was more than a calendar. It was a stage for cosmic rituals. By aligning ceremonies with solstices, lunar cycles, and possibly even eclipses, the builders could synchronize human activity with celestial events. This would have created a profound connection between people and the universe, reinforcing the monument's spiritual power. Consider the summer solstice sunrise. As the sun rises, its light penetrates the circle in perfect alignment with the heel stone, illuminating the heart of the monument. For those standing inside, it would have been an awe-inspiring spectacle, perhaps interpreted as the god's presence or approval. Similarly, lunar alignments may have guided rituals linked to fertility, cycles of life, and the passage of time. The precision of these alignments is staggering, especially considering the tools available at the time. It speaks to a society that was deeply observant, disciplined, and spiritually attuned. Stonehenge wasn't merely a construction project, it was a bridge between humans and the cosmos, a place where earthly lives were woven into the tapestry of the stars, and that leads to a haunting question. If they understood so much about the heavens, what secrets might they have known that we've yet to uncover? 19. The ritual of fire. Fire has always held a magnetic power over humans, light, warmth, and danger intertwined in a single force. At Stonehenge, fire may have played a central role in the rituals performed within and around the stone circle. Excavations reveal charcoal, burned bones, and fire pits, hinting at ceremonies that involved flames, smoke, and intense heat. Imagine a cold Neolithic night, hundreds of people gathered around blazing fires, the shadows of towering stones flickering. Across the ground, drums pound, chants echo, and the smoke curls toward the sky, blending with the starlight. Fire could symbolize life, purification, or the connection between the earthly and the divine, making the ritual an all-encompassing sensory experience. Some researchers suggest that fire was used to sanctify the dead, purify offerings, or mark transitions during solstice ceremonies. The interplay between stone, fire, and sound would have created a ritual environment that was both awe-inspiring and intimidating. In such moments, the boundary between the natural and the supernatural may have felt almost non-existent. Fire, then, wasn't merely practical, it was transformative. It shaped perception, heightened emotion, and amplified the spiritual significance of the monument. At Stonehenge, flame and stone worked together to create an experience that modern visitors can still imagine, though never fully replicate. Evidence from the site suggests that fire rituals were carefully choreographed. Charcoal layers indicate repeated burnings, sometimes in specific pits, hinting at ceremonial cycles rather than random fires. Burned bones alongside these pits suggest that fire played a role in funerary practices, transforming the dead and offerings into smoke that ascended toward the sky, perhaps carrying prayers or intentions to the gods. Some experts propose that fire also marked the seasons. During solstices, massive bonfires may have been lit to honor the sun, symbolizing renewal, rebirth, or the triumph of light over darkness. In this context, fire became a tool of both celebration and cosmic alignment, connecting human rituals to celestial events. The sensory power of these ceremonies would have been overwhelming. The heat of the flames, the flickering shadows against the towering stones, the echo of chants and drums, it created an immersive spiritual experience, leaving participants awed, humbled, or even transformed. Fire wasn't just light. It was a bridge between humans, the sacred, and the cosmos itself. Stonehenge, in this sense, was alive with flame, shadow, and sound, a monument that transcended stone to become an instrument of ritual, perception, and spiritual power. Secrets of the Bluestones. While the towering sarsen stones dominate Stonehenge's skyline, it's the bluestones that hold some of its deepest mysteries. These smaller stones, weighing up to 4 tons each, were transported over 150 miles from the Preseli Hills in Wales, a staggering feat in a world without wheels or modern machinery. Why go to such lengths for these particular stones? Many researchers believe it wasn't just their size or shape, it was their source. Some of the bluestones contain unique mineral compositions, leading experts to speculate that they were thought to possess special powers. Healing, protection, or spiritual energy may have been associated with these stones. explaining why people were willing to endure immense labor to bring them to Stonehenge. The journey itself may have held ritual significance. Moving the stones by rivers, land, and perhaps wooden sledges created a collective effort that bound communities together. Each stone became a symbol of devotion, a tangible connection between the builders, the monument, and the sacred landscape. Even after millennia, the blue stones continue to fascinate. Some emit ringing tones when struck, suggesting they were deliberately chosen for acoustic as well as spiritual qualities. In this way, these stones are more than rock. They are instruments, relics, and messengers carrying secrets from distant lands into the heart of Stonehenge. The transport of the blue stones was an extraordinary endeavor. Archaeologists believe they were first quarried in Wales, then moved along rivers and overland, likely using wooden sledges, rollers, and coordinated teams. The process would have taken years, perhaps decades, involving hundreds of people working in precise harmony. Every stone was a project of logistics, endurance, and devotion. Once at Stonehenge, the placement of each blue stone was deliberate. Some align with specific solar or lunar events, while others may have been positioned for acoustic or ritualistic purposes. It's possible that certain stones were reserved for specific ceremonies, perhaps for healing, sacrifice, or spiritual initiation. Each stone became a focal point for interaction with the sacred, the cosmic, and the communal. Interestingly, experiments show that striking some blue stones produces ringing tones, almost musical notes. This suggests that the stones may have been used in ceremonies involving sound, creating an immersive ritual experience that combined sight, hearing, and touch. The blue stones, then, were far more than structural elements. They were symbols, instruments, and vessels of power. In essence, the journey, placement, and use of the blue stones reveal a culture that understood labor, ritual, and the subtle language of stone. They were crafting not just a monument, but a living experience, a monument that speaks across millennia. Celestial alignments and prophecies. Stonehenge is more than a monument. It's a cosmic calculator, a celestial observatory encoded in stone. Beyond solstices and lunar cycles, some researchers suggest that the arrangement of stones may have allowed the builders to predict eclipses and other rare astronomical events. By carefully observing the horizon and positioning the stones, accordingly, the ancients could mark the precise moment when the sun or moon aligned with key stones. This wasn't just for spectacle. It may have been tied to rituals, agricultural cycles, or even societal governance, marking times when decisions, ceremonies, or sacrifices were to occur. Some theories propose that Stonehenge could have served as a prophetic tool, a way to anticipate natural cycles and celestial events that influenced life on Earth. In a world governed by sun, moon, and season, knowing these patterns would be invaluable, guiding planting, harvesting, and ritual observances. Standing inside the circle at the right moment would have been breathtaking. Imagine watching the sun rise perfectly aligned with the heelstone, or observing a rare lunar event unfold in the center of the monument. For those ancient observers, it may have felt as though the heavens themselves were speaking, revealing knowledge that shaped both life and destiny. Certain alignments at Stonehenge suggest it may have been used to anticipate rare and dramatic celestial events. For example, the positioning of some stones corresponds with lunar standstills, an 18.6-year cycle where the moon reaches its maximum and minimum heights in the sky. Such events would have been highly significant to a society attuned to cosmic rhythms, possibly guiding rituals or communal gatherings. Other stones align with solstices, creating a visual and spiritual marker for the turning of the seasons. These alignments could signal planting or harvesting times, or serve as ceremonial reminders of the cycles of life and death. In a sense, Stonehenge functioned as both calendar and oracle, translating the movements of the heavens into earthly action. Some researchers even speculate that the monument may encode knowledge of planetary motion, eclipses, and other astronomical phenomena yet to be fully understood. The ancients may have used Stonehenge as a tool to interpret the cosmos, a place where observation, ritual, and prophecy intertwined. The deeper we study these celestial alignments, the more it becomes clear. Stonehenge was not just a monument. It was a bridge between human understanding and the mysteries of the universe, a place where the heavens spoke through stone. Lost knowledge and techniques. Stonehenge is a testament to human ingenuity, but it also hints at skills and knowledge that have been lost to time. How did Neolithic builders move massive stones across hundreds of miles? How did they achieve precise alignments without modern tools? The answers remain partially mysterious, suggesting techniques that were highly sophisticated yet never fully documented. Tool marks on the stones reveal surprising craftsmanship. The mortise and tenon joints, the careful shaping of lintels, and the polished surfaces indicate an advanced understanding of mechanics and geometry. These weren't random constructions. They were carefully engineered solutions, preserved in stone but lost in practice. Even the transportation of bluestones from Wales suggests knowledge of logistics and collaboration that would challenge modern teams. Coordinating hundreds of workers, sledges, ropes, and river crossings over decades required not only ingenuity, but a deep understanding of physics and human endurance. Stonehenge is a silent teacher. It shows us what ancient people were capable of, even if the exact methods remain elusive. It's a reminder that knowledge can vanish with time, leaving behind wonders that baffle and inspire generations to come. Some hypotheses about Stonehenge's construction suggest surprisingly creative solutions. Researchers have proposed that the builders used a combination of wooden sledges, rollers, levers, and earthen ramps to move and raise the massive stones. Experiments show that with coordinated effort, teams could slide stones over long distances, tilt them upright, and place lintels with remarkable precision, all without metal tools. Others believe that water may have played a crucial role. Rivers and temporary canals could have transported bluestones closer to the site, reducing the overland burden. The builders may have exploited seasonal floods or carefully constructed rafts to float stones along the landscape, demonstrating an intuitive understanding of hydraulics and terrain. Yet even with these theories, many aspects remain mysterious. How did they coordinate work over decades? How did they ensure the stones aligned so precisely with solstices and lunar cycles? These questions suggest that the builders possessed knowledge passed down through generations, practical, mathematical, and possibly spiritual, that we have only begun to glimpse. Stonehenge, in essence, is a monument to lost knowledge, a puzzle of human ingenuity, engineering, and cultural sophistication that challenges us to rethink what ancient societies were truly capable of. The visitor experience. Stonehenge isn't just an archaeological site, it's an experience. Even today, standing within or near the circle evokes awe, curiosity, and a sense of connection across millennia. For the ancient visitor, the monument would have been even more powerful, towering stones, carefully aligned with sun and moon, surrounded by the sounds of ritual and the glow of fire. Imagine arriving at the site during a solstice, traveling from distant lands like those who brought the bluestones from Wales. You would see hundreds of people gathered, chants filling the air, drums pounding, smoke rising from ceremonial fires. The energy would be palpable, a mix of reverence, fear, and exhilaration. Every step, every shadow, every sound would reinforce the monument's significance. Even today, visitors feel the monument's presence. Walking the paths, observing the stone circle, and witnessing sunrise or sunset through key alignments inspires reflection on time, mortality, and human achievement. Stonehenge offers a sensory experience that is both physical and emotional, connecting us to the ingenuity, devotion, and spirituality of those who built it. The visitor experience, ancient or modern, is a reminder that Stonehenge is not just stone and soil. It is a space designed to move the human soul. Modern visitors often report a profound sense of connection when they approach Stonehenge. For some, it is spiritual, a place to meditate, reflect, or feel the pulse of history beneath their feet. Druids, pagans, and New Age practitioners continue to hold solstice ceremonies, channeling ancient traditions into contemporary rituals. Even for those without spiritual intent, the site evokes wonder. The sheer scale, the alignment with the sun and moon, and the knowledge of how the stones were transported and placed create a humbling experience. Standing inside the circle, It's impossible not to feel the weight of centuries, the labor of hundreds of workers, and the devotion of countless pilgrims. Stonehenge also inspires imagination. Writers, artists, and filmmakers have drawn on its mystery, creating works that bridge history and legend. The monument becomes more than a relic. It is a canvas for human curiosity, creativity, and reverence. In this way, Stonehenge continues to fulfill its original purpose, to captivate, to inspire awe, and to connect people with something far greater than themselves, whether that is the cosmos, the past, or the enduring power of human ambition. Stonehenge in modern science. Stonehenge isn't just a relic of the past, it's a laboratory for modern science. From archaeology to geology, genetics to astronomy, researchers continue to uncover astonishing insights about the monument and the people who built it. Ground-penetrating radar and LiDAR scans have revealed hidden features, including previously unknown ditches, pits, and post holes. These discoveries suggest that Stonehenge was part of a much larger complex, with ceremonial avenues, satellite monuments, and ritual landscapes extending for miles. The site wasn't isolated. It was the hub of a vast and intricate network of Neolithic activity. DNA analysis of human remains provides a window into the lives of the people associated with Stonehenge. Isotope studies reveal migration patterns, showing that many individuals came from faraway regions, hinting at pilgrimage and cultural exchange. Meanwhile, studies of the stones themselves uncover quarrying techniques, stone composition, and even the acoustic properties that might have been used in rituals. Modern science continues to deepen our understanding, but with every answer comes new questions. Stonehenge remains a puzzle, a monument that challenges researchers to rethink the sophistication, beliefs, and ingenuity of Neolithic societies. Recent scientific advances have shed astonishing light on Stonehenge's mysteries. For example, chemical analysis of the bluestones revealed traces of organic matter, suggesting they were used in ceremonial offerings long before their placement in the circle. This points to a ritual significance that predates the construction of the monument itself. Other studies focus on acoustics. Experiments show that certain areas within Stonehenge amplify sound, supporting theories that the stones were chosen not only for their appearance or spiritual significance, but also for their resonance. Imagine rituals where drumming, chanting, or stone strikes created an immersive sonic experience, enhancing the sacred atmosphere. There's also ongoing debate about Stonehenge's purpose. Was it primarily a burial site, an astronomical observatory, a temple of healing, or a combination of all three? Modern science doesn't provide all the answers, but it equips us to ask better questions and explore the monument in ways our ancestors never imagined. Stonehenge, through the lens of contemporary science, remains as awe-inspiring as ever, a place where ancient human ambition meets modern curiosity, and where every discovery seems to open a door to even deeper mysteries. The enduring mystery. After millennia of study, debate, and speculation, Stonehenge still keeps its deepest secrets. Every excavation, every alignment, every discovery only adds layers to the enigma, reminding us that some mysteries are meant to endure. Why were the stones transported over hundreds of miles? What exactly did the builders hope to achieve with their alignments, sounds, and rituals? And what knowledge, now lost, guided their hands? Perhaps the most powerful aspect of Stonehenge is not what we know, but what we don't. It challenges our assumptions, inspires our imagination, and connects us to people who lived thousands of years ago. Standing among the stones, we feel their weight, not just physically but culturally and spiritually. We sense the devotion, ingenuity, and wonder of those who shaped them, and we realize that some questions are meant to spark curiosity rather than provide final answers. Stonehenge is a mirror of human ambition, belief, and creativity. It is a monument to the eternal quest for meaning, a place where time bends, and where the past, present, and cosmos converge. Its mystery is not a void, it is an invitation to wonder, to explore, and to acknowledge that even the greatest achievements of humanity can remain partly beyond our grasp. In the end, Stonehenge may never be fully understood, And perhaps that is exactly as it was intended.